"Your son pushed my daughter into the pool." That's what my sister-in-law said right after my niece nearly drowned. I answered, furious. "What? My son would never do something like that." My mother-in-law finished the attack. "He's a danger. That boy needs to be institutionalized." But 3 days later, the little girl woke up and whispered, "It wasn't him. It was..." And from that moment on, everything changed. My name is Angela Reynolds. I'm 36 years old, and I'm the mother of 7-year-old Ethan. In the last few days, almost my entire family has tried to convince me that I'm raising a little monster. But before you judge, let me tell you how it all began. That morning, my son woke up buzzing with excitement. "We're going to the pool today, right, Mom?" he asked with that toothless grin that always melts my heart. It was a Saturday, a get-together at my in-laws' house, a weekly ritual. Think of a wealthy family, a lavish mansion with a magazine-worthy backyard, a giant BBQ grill, and a thick tension in the air. A tension I pretended not to feel because my husband, Michael, always said, "My mom is tough, Angela, but deep down she cares about you." A lie. My mother-in-law looked at me as if I were a stain on her linen tablecloth. But I put up with it for Ethan, and also for Sophia, my niece, the daughter of Michael's sister Veronica, the queen of passive-aggressive drama. Sophia was 6 years old. Ethan adored her. They were inseparable. Until that day. I remember the exact moment everything shattered. The clock read 3:47 p.m. when the scream ripped through the air. At that instant, I was in the kitchen with Veronica, cutting up fruit. She, as usual, was staring at her phone, whispering to someone. I noticed she was on edge, but I didn't say anything. Michael was at the grill with his dad. My mother-in-law was holed up in the study, supposedly reviewing the grandchildren's college fund. And the kids were alone by the pool, something that never should have happened. But everyone trusted that with security cameras and floaties, there was no risk. Until we heard the scream, the sound of a small body being pulled from the water, and the silence before the chaos. Sophia was lucky. The response was quick, the doctor said in the emergency room. But there are clear signs she was pushed. She fell directly into the deep end. A 6-year-old girl wouldn't do that on her own. And that's when my mother-in-law looked at me in front of everyone and said, "It was Ethan. Sophia told us. That boy is a danger." It was like a verdict, a sentence with no trial. "That's insane," I yelled. "My son would never do that. They're best friends." Veronica, who hadn't shed a single tear, looked up from her phone and murmured, "I saw it. He pushed her." My world collapsed. That night we went home, just Ethan and me. My mother-in-law said she didn't want that child in her house after what he'd done. My son was silent. "I was just playing, Mommy. I swear," he whispered. I wanted to believe him. I had to. But the doubt was already there. That night, lying next to him, I remembered something Sophia told me weeks before. "My mommy gets mad when Grandpa says he's going to split the fund between me and Ethan. She wants it all for me." 2 days passed, and then the phone rang. It was the hospital. "Sophia is awake, and she said something you need to hear in person." My heart pounded like never before. My son was still withdrawn, not talking to anyone. And now, the only person who could tell the truth had finally opened her eyes. I walked into the room. She was weak, but awake. She looked at me, then at her mother, and then she whispered something that froze my blood. The silence that followed was absolute, but I swear, in that instant, nothing made sense anymore. Sophia had said something at the hospital, but not in front of everyone, only to me, and it was enough to understand this was far from an accident. She looked me in the eyes, her lips trembling. "I don't know if I can say it." "Sophia, you're safe. You can talk." "But if I do, my mommy will get mad, like when she yelled on the phone." In that moment, I knew. Sophia wasn't afraid of falling. She was afraid of someone. In the car on the way home, Michael tried to rationalize. "Maybe she's confused. Sometimes kids make things up by accident." "Do you really think Ethan pushed her?" I don't know what to think anymore, Angela. Veronica says she saw it with her own eyes. Your mother has always hated Ethan, and now she has what she wanted. An excuse. He sighed heavily. Let's wait for the medical report. Maybe Sophia will remember more later. But I had already heard enough. That night, Ethan called me from his room. Mom, can I tell you something? Of course, sweetie. Before Sophia fell, Aunt Veronica was scolding her. She called her a tattletale. I heard her. Did you see anything else? I saw Sophia going to the pool and Aunt Veronica watching her from far away. Then she came to me and just said, "Pretend you didn't see anything." I felt my soul freeze over. The next day, I called my friend Lauren Gates, a lawyer specializing in children's rights. I told her what Ethan had said and what Sophia had whispered at the hospital. If that's true, Angela, she said, it's manipulation and can be considered emotional abuse. But it's the word of 2 children against an entire family. They'll say they're confused. Angela, the cameras. That house has cameras. If Veronica did something strange, it was recorded. That same afternoon, my father-in-law sent a message asking for a family meeting. We were all gathered in the living room. The atmosphere was so tense it was hard to breathe. This is tearing us all apart. We need to resolve this with maturity, he said. My mother-in-law wouldn't even look at me. Veronica, on the other hand, arrived with a flawless smile, as if she were hosting a game show. Sophia is still weak, but I stand by what I saw. Ethan pushed her. I looked at Michael. He didn't meet my gaze. I was alone, but not defeated. 2 days later, Lauren called me. I accessed the camera system, and there's a problem. What happened? A section was deleted, right at the time of the incident. I felt my legs give out. But we managed to recover a piece from the backup. I need you to see it for yourself. I went to her law office. The video begins with Sophia and Ethan playing near the edge of the pool. Veronica appears in the background, watching. Suddenly, she walks slowly towards the edge, stops, makes a quick motion with her arm, and then the image cuts out. I stared at the screen, my stomach churning. Who deletes a video if they don't have something to hide? I returned from Lauren's office with my heart racing. In the back seat, Ethan slept, hugging the teddy bear from last Christmas. The sky was heavy, the air thick. Everything seemed to warn me that the worst was yet to come. Michael was waiting for me at the front door, his arms crossed. You disappeared all day. I went looking for the truth. Someone had to. He didn't argue. For the first time in days, his look wasn't angry, just tired and afraid. Did you find anything? Not everything, but enough to know that someone lied. The next day, I went back to the hospital to see Sophia. She looked better physically, but the way she relaxed when she saw me, as if she could finally breathe, broke my soul. Aunt Angela, can I come to your house one day? Of course, sweetie, whenever you want. It's just, nobody yells there, and Ethan is nice to me. At the door of the room, Veronica appeared. Perfect, composed, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. How nice of you to come, but she needs to rest. Sophia immediately fell silent, as if her voice had been switched off. Before leaving, I looked Veronica straight in the eye. You were near the pool that day, Veronica. She hesitated for just a second, then laughed. You're going too far, Angela. Be careful, or you'll get burned. That night, I sent the recovered video to my father-in-law. No text, no explanation. His response came hours later as a voice message. I need to talk to you, alone. We met the next day in his study. Ernest had always been an imposing man, but that day he seemed smaller. Do you think I don't see it, Angela? I think you chose not to see. He lowered his head. After a long silence, he said, Veronica has always felt empty. Since she was a little girl, she'd say everything was for her brother, that she was invisible. That's why she needs to destroy everything she can't control. She told me that if she ever had a child, she would make sure they wanted for nothing, at any price. He took a deep breath. Do you think she pushed her own daughter? I don't know what she did, but I know what she's capable of. 2 days later, the bomb dropped. The police arrived at my in-laws' house. Lauren explained it to me. A technician from the security company had reported direct tampering with the files. Someone had tried to erase the videos from the internal system, and only one person had that password: my mother-in-law. When Veronica found out, she stormed into the house, completely unhinged. You believe her? This woman and that boy? Michael tried to calm her down. We just want to know the truth. You're on her side now? I'm on the side of the truth, Veronica. She looked at him as if he were a stranger. Say something, Dad. Are you going to let her destroy me? Ernest just asked, Did you delete that video? She didn't answer. You were by the pool. More silence. You yelled at Sophia that day. And that's when she broke. She was going to say something. She always talks too much. She always ruins everything. The phrase echoed through the house, but it wasn't a confession. It was rage, desperation, and nobody knew just how much she was hiding. That night, I slept in the same room as Ethan. He curled up in my lap and asked, Can we go to the pool now, Mom? It took me a moment to answer. For the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe. Almost, sweetie. Almost. But in the middle of the night, the phone rang. It was the hospital. Mrs. Reynolds, Sophia wants to talk. She says she needs to tell you something. Only you. She said there's something she's been hiding from everyone. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding. I returned to the hospital late the next afternoon. The nurse told me, Sophia is calmer, and she asked to see you. I entered the room. She was sitting on the bed, looking out the window as if waiting for something. But when she saw me, she gave a small smile. I sat down next to her. You wanted to tell me something? She nodded. Then she glanced at the door, as if to make sure no one else was listening. Sometimes I think I remember, but sometimes I don't. It's okay, Sophia. Can you just tell me what you feel? I remember my mommy was angry, really angry, and I was next to the pool. What happened next? And she yelled. She told me everything was my fault. And then, I don't know if she pushed me or if I fell. Did you feel someone touch you? Maybe. But I'm also scared of saying something that isn't true. I squeezed her hand. Thank you for trusting me. That night, I told Lauren everything. She's confused, she said, but what she's feeling is real. The fear, the doubt, they're clear signs of manipulation. So what do we do now? We wait, we watch, and we see what the mother does. Michael was waiting up for me in silence. Did she say something? She said she feels guilty. Do you still think it was Veronica? I think someone taught her to be afraid. And that didn't come from the water. 2 days later, Veronica showed up unannounced at her parents' house. My mother-in-law, Barbara, called me that night. She was distraught. She said you're putting ideas in everyone's heads. And what do you think? There was a pause. I think there are things that don't add up, and I haven't been completely honest with you either. What are you talking about? There's something I have to show you, but not over the phone. That same night, Barbara arrived at my house. No makeup, no expensive perfume. She was holding a small box. I should have never kept this. She placed it on the table and opened it. An old voice recorder. She pressed play. A child's voice. Grandma, if I say Ethan pushed me, will you get me more presents? An adult's laughing voice. Oh, you silly girl. Child's voice. Mommy said if I say that, we're going to be rich. A chill ran down my spine. That's Sophia. Barbara nodded, her eyes moist. It was weeks ago. I found it by accident. It recorded unintentionally in the playroom. And why didn't you show it to me before? Because I thought she was just playing, that it was a fantasy. But now, I don't know. I didn't sleep that night. I got up and went to Ethan's room. He was sleeping peacefully. Finally. I lay down beside him, closed my eyes, and remembered something. An argument at my in-laws' house, days before the incident. Veronica was complaining about the division of the grandchildren's college fund. She said it wasn't fair, that Ethan didn't deserve the same. At the time, I thought it was just another tantrum. Now, it looked like the beginning of something much darker. The next day, I took the audio to Lauren. She listened to the whole thing without saying a word. When it finished, she just said, "This could change everything, but it could also be seen as a child's game." Are you serious? Of course. She's a child. The defense will say it was a joke or that she doesn't understand what she's saying. The audio alone isn't enough. I was silent, because she was right. But if we find something else, even something small, we could connect it. I spent hours going through Sophia's things, notebooks, drawings, old diaries, until I found one. It was a drawing of the pool. 3 stick figures, 2 standing, 1 in the water. Next to the drowning figure was a woman with long hair and red eyes. Veronica. At the bottom, written in purple marker, it was a fake accident. That night, Michael came home late. Are you still on this? Do you really think this is just going to go away? That's not it. You don't want to accept what's obvious. He sat down on the couch, staring at the floor. My mom showed me the audio, and the drawing, and I don't know how, but I can't defend her anymore. I sat next to him and spoke softly. You know what hurts the most? That if no one had believed me, our son would be medicated right now, branded as an aggressor for life. He closed his eyes and said nothing. 2 days later, a notification arrived the case against Ethan would be dismissed. Not officially yet, but it was in process. At the same time, a new investigation was opened, false accusations and possible evidence tampering. Veronica was called in for questioning. This time she wasn't the same. Her voice trembled, she got tangled in her words, she cried. My daughter doesn't know what she's saying. I just wanted to protect her. And protect her from what? The prosecutor asked. From you. From the scandal. From everything. Did you ask her to lie? I asked her not to say anything. And the video? Silence. Did you delete it? I just wanted to avoid a misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Barbara was texting me every day. Do you think it's my fault too? Do you hate me? Can I see Ethan? I didn't answer, until she wrote one last time. If I tell you what I heard that day, do you promise to take care of my granddaughter? I felt the floor open up beneath me. I called her immediately. She answered with a trembling voice. What did you hear? Veronica was on speakerphone talking to someone from work. She was yelling. She said, I'm not going to lose everything over some brat. And then she whispered, if she disappears, no one's going to blame that little monster. I couldn't breathe. Are you sure of what you heard? I was behind the door. She didn't know I was there. I didn't want to believe it. Sophia hadn't told the whole story, but now she wasn't the only one who knew. That night, I asked Lauren to schedule a meeting with the district attorney. Veronica's name was no longer a rumor. It was a ticking time bomb. The meeting with the DA lasted just over an hour. Lauren presented the audio, the drawing, and Barbara's testimony. The DA was direct. If the witness confirms this in front of a judge, we move forward with the charges. If she backs out, we'll need something more solid, something that proves intent. Intent. That word echoed in my head. The day of the testimony, Barbara arrived on time, hair done, no makeup. Her hands were cold, her eyes empty. Before going in, she grabbed my arm. I don't even know whose side I'm on. Just tell the truth. She looked at me, her voice trembling. If this ends how I think it will, you're going to take Sophia from me too. If all of this is true, you'll want to keep her away yourself. She looked down and said no more. During the hearing, Barbara recounted what she heard in the study. She said she recognized the voice, that she felt afraid. But then the DA asked, "Had you heard similar things before?" She hesitated. "Yes, but I thought they were exaggerations, figures of speech, things you ignore because you don't want to see. And it never seemed strange that a mother would talk about her daughter disappearing. Sometimes you just want peace in the house, even if it means staying quiet." That sentence felt like a gunshot in the courtroom. Veronica was called right after. She didn't know her mother had already testified. She walked in and froze when she saw Barbara sitting there. "What is she doing here?" "She's telling the truth," I answered. She looked at me with a deep, dry hatred. "You ruined my life, Angela." "No, I just stopped covering for your lies." "Sophia loves you, and that's why she deserves to be safe." That night, Barbara called me again. Her voice was different. "I know it's late, but I can't keep this inside anymore. Tell me." "When Veronica was a little girl, she also fell into the pool." "What?" "She was 5 years old. She passed out. It was her father who pulled her out. I just stood there, paralyzed, and she never forgave me for it." "And now you think?" "I don't know, Angela. But sometimes I think she just wanted someone else to feel what she felt that day." The day of the final hearing, the sky was too blue, as if nothing had happened. Inside me, it was a different story. Sophia stayed with Lauren, far from it all. Michael came with me. He didn't say a word on the way. Veronica arrived late. No makeup, no strength, but with the same defiant look. Not even in front of the judge did she apologize. The prosecution presented everything: the audio, the drawing, Barbara's testimony, and the report from the protected interview with Sophia. The judge listened in silence and then said, "We have serious accusations: child manipulation, procedural fraud, false reporting, and concealment of evidence. But before we proceed, we need to know why." And that's when they called a new witness, the principal from Sophia's school. Lauren had contacted her after discovering something strange. She took the stand and spoke without hesitation. 3 days before the alleged accident, the girl's mother came to request her complete school record. She also asked if it was possible to get prior psychological evaluations. She said her daughter was being bullied, that she was afraid of her cousin, and that she wanted to sue the school and the boy's family for negligence. But when we asked for proof, she became nervous. The silence in the room was total. The judge asked, "Did she mention money?" "Yes," the principal replied. She said she had already spoken with lawyers and that with any luck they could get a settlement, or at least full custody of the child. Those were her words. Veronica was frozen, but when it was her turn to speak, she feigned strength. "This is a witch hunt. They're attacking me because I'm a single mother, because I raised my daughter alone." The prosecutor interrupted her. "You used your daughter as a weapon for revenge. You tried to extort your own family, all based on a lie." The sentence came shortly after. Veronica was formally charged with procedural fraud, filing a false report, concealment of evidence, child manipulation, and attempted family extortion. But it was what the judge said to me that stuck with me the most. "You didn't just protect your son. You saved another child from being trapped in a lie." Outside, Barbara was crying inconsolably. Michael squeezed my hand as if he still couldn't believe what had happened, and all I could think about was hugging Sophia. She was waiting for me on a bench in the courthouse garden. When she saw me, she ran. She hugged me tight, really tight. "Is it over?" she asked. "Yes, sweetie, it's over." "Can we be normal now?" "Yes, we can." 6 months later, we can breathe again. Ethan is back in school with no labels, no fear. Sophia started therapy and told me she wants to be a psychologist. Michael asked for a second chance, and I accepted, but with one condition: no more lies in this house, ever. Today, I understand that my vengeance was never about punishment. It was about rescuing my children from a toxic story, and rescuing a little girl from a woman who never healed. And that's what we did. If you've made it this far, tell me in the comments, would you have done the same? Type courage and tell me which part of this story broke your heart. And if you believe that the truth is worth fighting for, subscribe to Velvet Vendetta.